Maybe not, because I have it too. That might just be to stop your
Okay.
visual.
Yeah, I just started recording, I believe. So, hi everybody. This is the introduction to the Goodreads backstage area for B2B CyCon 2017. Amanda, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Excellent. So, I'm sorry, I have to move your little video box so that I can. Okay, so this is the author portal on the B2B side screen, or B2B Goodreads backstage. If you are trying to find this, what you will do is when you come into Goodreads, you're going to go to Community and Groups. And then you can search. Don't chase it down. It's just so much easier to search. And I'm going to have a bunch of stuff come up because I'm doing a bunch of stuff with Goodreads. So, but you should only have this one right here, the author portal for 2017. If you have registered and you have not gotten the invite to this, please message me or Angela Chrysler and we will get you added, because this is where all of the building is happening to get things set up for the CyCon. Now, I've had a couple of people ask me, is CyCon on Goodreads this year? Let's be clear, we're not moving off of the website to Goodreads. Goodreads is, like Facebook, another arm of the CyCon event. But we were having issues with organizing on Facebook and having too many things partitioned, and people that were in multiple genres not able to figure out what was going on with all of their genres. And then, of course, chatting in the main group, everything went so fast that some people weren't seeing stuff. And that's why we decided to go back to Goodreads, which we've used the last 2 years. It was a mistake for us to have left it, and we are sorry. And I know that that causes some conflict for some of you who aren't as familiar with Goodreads, which is why we're going to show you how it works. But the nice thing about Goodreads is that all of these conversations that we're having that we need to have are all still kept here, and they're archived so that you don't lose them. And just because you didn't see them, you'll see I'm a slacker. I'm not over here very much. I spend tons of time on Goodreads, but I'm focusing on bringing people in. I'm not as much a part of the building things out. So it lets you know how many conversations have happened since the last time you were in here. So it's easy for you to keep up with stuff and know where you are. So let's start at the top. Getting started, this is just to let you know where you are. If you're not sure what you're doing or what's going on, these are the chats for you to work in. And obviously, there's been a lot of issues with the forms this year. We apologize. We realized that Ninja Forms was not as awesome as we were hoping it would be. And so that's caused a lot of conflicts. But you can check right here to see which forms you've submitted and which forms you still need to submit. And that's a big one. Recent changes that have been going on are all listed in here. You're looking for, if you have an issue with the website's down or you can't find something or whatever, you can report the problem right here under the troubleshooting. Ask Angela. We ask that you guys, you'll see she's got 30 notifications. Angela is just one person. And on top of running CyCon, she also has Brain to Books, which has a whole bunch of author services that she offers, as well as being an author, as well as being a mom and a wife. So if we can direct questions to report a problem before Ask Angela, that would be greatly appreciated. We're trying to help balance her workload. If it's a big, big issue, then absolutely go to Angela, but Angela should be the last step in the communication chain. And that report a problem is a great first step. All right, so this is kind of a information dump author portal. It lets you know all the stuff that's coming up and what you need to work with. And then this is where all of the event orders information is placed, so you can check on your order. If you are a blogger, or if you are participating as an author through the blog hop or the genre hop, this is for you. If you're not sure which volunteer you need to talk to, this is where you can look. If you'd like to volunteer, which for this year, we're still looking for a few kind of more supporting positions. But if you're interested in volunteering next year, definitely want to put something in here for you guys. And I'll do that right after this meeting. I'd like to volunteer for next year. So CyCon, in case you don't know, is almost completely run. No, it's completely run by volunteers. None of us are getting a paycheck. The money that we have brought in from charging this year is going to pay for the servers. It's going to pay for the website. We were hoping it would pay for advertising, but we didn't bring in enough this year to pay for advertising, so we're going to be focusing more on marketing. It went to pay for graphics. It went to pay for a lot of these little bits and pieces that all come together. So nobody made money off of CyCon. It's all volunteers. And we can only have as many events as we have volunteers that are willing to help out with them. All right, the marketing folder is for all of the marketing activities that everybody needs to be participating in. We will be having a thunderclap and a head talker going up shortly, hopefully in all genres, but definitely for the big one to start recruiting those readers that we need in the CyCon. Because without readers, it's just a bunch of authors having fun together, which isn't a bad thing, but that's not what we're here for, right? All right, and then we get on to the events. This is a list of general events. You'll see the author showcase. If you ordered an author showcase, here's where you ask questions of, I think Anita's pretty much doing all that work herself right now, but if there's any other volunteers that are helping with that, that's where you'll find them. Information for what you'll need for the webinars and the panels, author interviews with Back Porch Writer with Corey DeMiller. She's booked out till way after CyCon with CyCon members doing the interviews with her. So that's super awesome. Great exposure there. And then you get into the different fantasy sections. So there's been a lot of confusion for, particularly for multi-genre authors and genre managers. If you ordered a blog hop, you need to choose which genre you want to do it under. And that's another place where Ninja Forms kind of failed us, and we apologize. But this is where you can let the genre manager of the genre that you're in know what you're doing with them so that you can start planning. And this is where they're going to be doing all of the plannings. You'll see Timothy's got here in fantasy, he wants some ideas for discussion panels to do. He's doing a really cool scavenger hunt, which I believe Sci-Fan and Horror are also doing this really cool, it's an Amazon scavenger hunt. So the reader will go through and look at the different look insides and answer questions. And then when they finish, there's a grand prize that they get for finishing. And each area, this is where you're planning what those prizes are going to be, because those are things that the authors that are participating in it will have to provide. And you're just basically putting together kind of a little grab bag. So really cool. But you've got fantasy, science fiction, science fantasy, and lit RPG, romance, memoir, horror, thriller, young adult, mystery, crime, and suspense, and historical fiction. Those are our categories this year. I've had a lot of people asking, why don't we have children's books? Why don't we have paranormal? Why don't we have urban fantasy? We will have urban fantasy next year. I volunteered because fantasy is huge and it's getting a little overwhelming. But we can only have the categories that we have volunteers who agree to be genre managers in. And that's a huge position. And most of these volunteers that are doing this have been doing this all year. So it's a big commitment for us. But we can't have more genres than what we have managers to cover them. So, Amanda, since nobody else came in and nobody posted questions for us, can you let me know any questions you have about Goodreads?
The Goodreads, I think I'm clear on. I see a lot of discussions that I didn't see, and I don't know if my Goodreads just didn't update. because I'm looking at the dates.
Yeah, there's been a lot of activity over here. Genre managers are just getting over here and starting to build stuff out. Some of them are new this year and didn't know.
Yeah, it looks a lot more organized than it did a couple weeks ago. It
Okay.
looks a lot more easy to navigate. Yeah, I had my particular issues for me were like the biker run. I didn't realize that those were for books specifically with motorcycle covers. Is that right?
I was under the understanding that to be a part of the biker run, you just had to have bikers in your books.
Right. Okay. So bikers. I didn't know that. I signed up for that, so I had to go ahead and pull out of that.
Oh, okay.
Somehow I missed, but there's a lot going on. I was trying to do 2 genres in the beginning, then I realized I need to just do one until I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
No, I think it's really set up well now. It's a lot more organized and it's a lot easier to follow through, especially having the genres having their own sections now.
Yeah, and having them build out the specific events. I know that that's been something that has caused a lot of confusion because we didn't have it set up. And the reason that we didn't have it set up at the beginning is we were trying to keep the sales page as small as possible. We were trying not to overwhelm people there. And
right.
And so when people signed up for a blog hop, but then when they built the Ninja forms, they didn't have the genre listed on it. And we learn, we live and we learn each year
right.
a little bit more. So it'll be better for next year for sure.
Right. And which one is the tab to volunteer for next year?
I am going to add that under the volunteers page. We don't have one right now, but I'm going to throw it up there. I know one of the things that Angela wanted to do this year that we didn't do last year, which is part of our learning and improving, is that we want to have a list of specific positions that we're asking volunteers to only choose one. So there will be a Google form that we'll create, and it'll have a list of positions, and you'll choose the position that you're interested in filling. And then we'll have a commentary section where you can say other positions that you'd be interested in as well. And then we'll organize those positions earlier on so that we don't lose as many volunteers. Because last year, at the end of it, we had 160 people that said that they wanted to volunteer. And when we got things kicking in August, we only had 40 people of that original 160 that actually showed up.
Okay. Now, do you pair veteran volunteers with new ones until the new ones know what they're doing?
Yeah, that is something that we're going to do next year. It's something that wasn't done this year. From what I understand, I know that Richard kind of got thrown to the wolves because he came in kind of at the last minute and we were kind of going different directions. And I know that we need to make sure that we're getting lots of support to Lizette because she just took over mystery. And she's not new, but she's new to taking over mystery. So we're trying to make sure that we get those people lots of support to get the events built up and ready to go. One of the things I did want to point out, because volunteers are supposed to be marketing, and yeah, we're going to have the thunderclap and we're going to have the head talker, but that doesn't have to be the only marketing that you do. Under the marketing folder, we have, where did it go? Sorry, I scrolled too low. Okay, we have the graphics. So you can choose the graphics for your genre and you can create a post. You can go into, for those of you who are experienced with Goodreads, you can go into other groups that you work in and create an event and invite the people from that group to CyCon.
And could I do that, for example, directly from my author profile on Goodreads?
Yep.
And just add an event to my author profile?
Yep, and I encourage every author to do that. When you create the event, just make sure that you're linking the event to the B2B CyCon website, because everything that's happening for B2B CyCon, whether it be the Biker Wars on Facebook, whether it be the blog hops, the genre tours, the Amazon treasure hunts, the panels, the Backporch Writer, Joe Live, everything will be linked from even this Goodreads author showcase will be linked in the B2B CyCon website. So B2B CyCon has become the hub so that we don't lose readers when they're going through these events. They can always go back to B2B CyCon and find the event where they're going.
Okay.
Hang on just one second. Kate's got a question. Oh no, she can download Zoom. Oh, man. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm not multitasking on Saturdays. It's too hard.
You're fine. I was just going to say, on the topic of marketing, are you familiar with Co-Promote?
I am.
Co-Promote?
I am, and I have been using Co-Promote.
Okay, and I would encourage anybody who's not using it yet to start building up your shares, because as soon as one of these head talkers hit Twitter, you can grab that tweet and boost it. I think I'm up to like 500,000 shares now. I've been just saving and not using them.
Yeah.
That's a really passive way to boost your marketing.
Yep, and I've been doing the same thing. Also, under marketing, I'm going to be working on today, we're creating hashtags for the different events for the different genres. So I'm going to have a section that's all about grab your hashtag. And just a reminder for authors, you can use hashtags on every single social media platform. All of them use it. Yeah. With everything except for Pinterest and Instagram, you want to keep it to 2 to 3 hashtags. But for Instagram and Pinterest, put every hashtag that applies. Yeah. Because they love their hashtags just a little bit too much. So, but it's a great way to help being able to filter things, and it'll get more information out there. And that's a great tool for I know I've had a couple of authors that are leery about letting Head Talker or Thunderclap use because they have to give them access to their information or whatever. Mm-hmm. And for those who are uncomfortable with that, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've used Thunderclap for going on a year now. And I've used it probably 7 different times as an author, but I add my support to other things, not just authors, but mostly authors, but some environmental things too. I add my support to people's stuff all the time. I've never been hacked. I've never had any problems with my account. I've been using Head Talker since October, and I've done 2 campaigns on Head Talker, and I've participated in a ton of campaigns on Head Talker, and I've never had my accounts hacked. So yes. Not that I'm saying that you haven't either. No. Yeah, and I'm not saying that there isn't a reason for anybody to be concerned, but trust me, you're more likely to get the Facebook Meow quiz or the BuzzFeed quizzes hacking your system than you are getting Head Talker and Thunderclap, because those play quiz things, those are user submitted. There's not a lot of control over it. Whereas Head Talker and Thunderclap, they maintain complete control over what's in the content, and it's only if you click on an outside link that you could be a danger, but that doesn't connect to your Facebook page or your Twitter page. Whereas with the quiz things, that's even more dangerous because anyway, that's my informed decisions thing there. But for those who still are very leery, we're not going to say, hey, you have to use these programs, but you still have to help market, because at the end of the day, if a bunch of authors show up and no readers show up, it's just a circle jerk, and that's not what we're here for. We need to be inviting the readers, and that requires everybody participating, everybody engaging. I would recommend, with us being as close as we are now, I would recommend doing at least 1 post a day on each of your social media platforms, letting people know about CyCon. It doesn't have to be, hey readers, you should come to CyCon every single day. That's going to be annoying and it's going to be boring. Don't do that. But sit down and figure out what events you're doing, what events you would be interested in going to if you weren't if you're not participating in them, and create a different hashtag or a different post for each of those events, so that you're feeding them a little bit of information, and one of those pieces are going to be the pieces that get them interested. Also, make sure you're linking for readers to the save the date, because that's going to do our work for them. We're catching them now, we're putting them in the save the date, and then the save the date will go out and remind them the week before and 3 days before and then the day of that CyCon's happening. So make sure that that's where you're directing them to with that. Any other, oops, hang on. I think Kate had a question. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. So I'll just let her know that we are recording. Another thing that we will hopefully be doing this year is that under each genre event, under each of these panels, we will also be creating a marketing piece for each of those, so that you'll be able to know exactly what you need to do to be able to market your events. And that'll include event-specific hashtags for that genre and all of that good stuff. So I think that that covers everything.
In the discussion panels, is there any type of list that shows who is doing which discussions?
We're still working that out. We thought we had that, and then some things changed. Volunteers moved, and yeah.
Okay.
But I know that we are working that out, and we are assigning, and it sounds like some of the different genres are adding new and different panels. So if you're on panels, check out your genre section, because I know, like what I was showing you with fantasy, Timothy is working on doing some of the discussions. Now, I know that in the when you ordered your panels, there were a couple of proposed suggestions that were already put out there. Several of those have gotten picked up by Science Fantasy because they were relevant to Science Fantasy. I'm not sure if Richard or one of his volunteers is going to be hosting that. We're still kind of hashing that stuff out. So the big thing is there's lots of people who are interested in a bunch of different panel ideas, but there weren't a lot of people who volunteered to host them.
Gotcha. I know it's a little too late this year, but I would suggest for next year something, whether it's a generic form that goes out when everybody signs up, or whether it's one of those Google forms that feeds into a spreadsheet, something where like I could go look and see my name and see everything that I've committed to. Because like right now I'm going, crap.
I don't even remember.
Did I sign up for, because I don't remember.
Yeah,
You know
and
I mean?
we were under the impression that that would be provided with Ninja Forms, and it wasn't, and we apologize for that. I know that we're looking at a couple of different things of how to do that, where it won't get overwhelming, because with the Ninja Forms that we had to grant access to certain people to be able to see it, and it shows you everybody's information, and even the volunteers are having a hard time figuring out who's doing what, the way that Ninja converts their forms. So that's why we've kind of thrown that, here's what's been submitted, and if you haven't filled out your form yet, here's what you need to do to get that fixed.
Okay.
So yeah, we've learned a lot about forms this year, and we're sorry. It will be much better next year, we promise.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Not that I can think of.
Okay. And I'm not seeing any over here either. But I will be posting, actually, I think I have to send it to Angela to post on her YouTube, so because it's B2B CyCon. But the video will be posted, and I will answer any questions that anybody has in the comment section of the video. Don't forget that for those of you who have author showcases and are struggling with how to put together your author showcase, Anita put together a great step-by-step on how to utilize the showcase. It goes through walking you through how to add pictures, which is a huge, I love being able to add pictures in Goodreads. It's awesome. If you have the choice between adding your book cover through adding the picture and adding it through the link thing, always go with the picture because it's bigger, it's more eye-catching, it'll get their attention better. So it's great. But anyway, until next time, just add your questions in the comments below. And if we get a whole lot of the same questions, I might do another video and walk through it on that. So,
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Amanda.
Thank you.
Have fun.
All right. Bye.
No, that's not what I meant to do. Stop recording. Ha.